Hi, everybody. This is the Baseball Head, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the People's Champion. Your host, the Hud. Welcome back to the Prospect Hut. And hopefully, you like this video and hit that subscribe button. I'm going to talk about in this video top prospects. I've been having technical difficulties with this video. Hopefully, we can get through this without a problem. But so far, not so great. But we're going to go through this. It's the Mets' top 15 prospects, according to just big. Headlined by rookie standout Nolan McLean and fast-rising outfielder Carson Benge. Mets farm system is suddenly brimming with talent, and that is really the real talk about what's going on with the Mets. Is that it seems that Mets president of baseball operations Dave Stearns wants to basically build the 2026 Mets around a younger team, which is very bold and it's very it's very risky, and it's gonna upset a lot of people. But Mets do have the best farm system in baseball, according to many reports. Um, and I think that I've been doing videos again on here, and people have been watching, and I think they're enjoying it. Uh, Now, I've been sort of reluctant to do these kinds of videos because of the fact that the Mets, there's so many talks that they're going to trade players. So I've been sort of very much reluctant to do anything at this point, just due to the fact that the club is so much, they're in such a flux in terms of the players on the team.
All right, we're live, and I'll
So
work on
pain
the
in the ass,
kind of
Yeah,
visual
we're
here
live.
for the
Yeah,
next
okay.
time we do
Shut
this
up.
live Q&A. I
Shut
realized that
up.
right before we were going to go live that I need to
This
work
is the
on
technical
kind of a
difficulties
back
I was
end
talking about.
orientation of this so that you
The
can
New York Mets
see
farm system.
this side of
Let's
things
get
a
to
little
it.
bit better.
There's one on the rise, suddenly looking like one of the best in baseball, especially when looking at the very top, featuring plenty of top 100 prospects. I mean, this is the work that's been put in. Also was put in by former general manager Billy Epler. We cannot forget about Billy's work here, because Billy was the guy that was here for 2 years, and he brought in some very interesting talent. Uh, the 2 years he was here. And Nolan McLean was a guy. We'll get into it. With President of Baseball Operations Dave Stearns now having finished his second year at the helm, the Mets have created a strong infrastructure that should yield better returns on the farm in due time. Formerly in charge of the Astros draft, the Mets nabbed Chris Gross to oversee their amateur scouting. They also poached former big league manager Andy Green from the Chicago Cubs, putting him in a senior role to oversee player development. Now, with real continuity atop the organization, the Mets hope they can more consistently find and develop big league talent to bolster a team that looks to contend for a long time around the highest paid player in baseball, Juan Soto. Can't forget about that. The Mets still have Juan Soto on this team. Nolan McLean at number
A bit
one.
better, but I figured,
Third round pick,
for the
91st
most part,
overall
I'm just going to
in
be answering the questions. I don't know
2023.
how
They
much
got
I'll
the
be
year
like
wrong.
actually showing you on here, but I just figured
They did
if
such a great job.
somebody asks about a
The year
prospect
wrong
on the top 100, I
he
might
was
as well
drafted in
cue it up on the
2023,
screen.
by the way, folks. He played as a two-way player in 23, the little bit that he played, and in the middle of 24, he decided to become a pitcher full-time. So they got this wrong. Once a two-way prospect, McLean's impressive field to pitch has shifted the focus to the mound, where he offers exciting projection based on the athleticism and data. He converted the projection into production in 2025, elevating both his quality of stuff and consistency. Continuing to improve as the year progressed. McLean debuted with the Mets and immediately showcased one of the more unique starting pitching mixes in MLB. His arsenal. He utilized a six-pitch mix headlined by a pair of unique heaters. The four-seamer sits a tick harder than the sinker, averaging 95.5 miles per hour through the second half of the season. His low release and arm angle helps the four-seamer generate plenty of whiff at the top half of the zone, creating a difficult tunnel with the sinker that looks the same out of the hand, but with 10 inches of vertical separation and another 4 inches of horizontal. Between the above average whiff rate on the four seam and a gargantuan 80% ground ball rate in 2025 on the sinker, McLean's hitters worked in tandem to stifle hitters all year long in completely different ways. His sweeper averaged more than 16 inches of horizontal break and nearly 3,000 RPM. Generally a pitch shape that would yield noticeable platoon splits, the sharpness in McLean's feel for it makes it effective against opposite-handed hitters as well, though he did hang a few in his big league debut. This is a kid that just took up pitching full time. I get the sense that he's very, very smart because he took to this very quickly. You got to have a bit of a brain to be able to adjust this quickly. Landing in for a strike roughly 2/3 of the time as a pro is particularly impressive given how much horizontal action it features in the mid 80s. Platoon splits may be more of a factor in the big leagues, but it should be a wipeout right on right pitch. McLean's really showcased his field to spin it with his two plane curveball averaging north of 3,200. Okay, we can skip all this. A fantastic 2025 season was capped off by dominance at the highest level. That is McLean looking like the best pitching prospect in baseball heading into 2026. McLean's deep bag of pitches headlined by a pair of unique fastballs and a rare ability to spin and give him frontline upside, while his elite ability to roll ground balls helps solidify the floor. His command continued to improve as the season progressed, which could be the final variable between and being him being a number 2 starter and a true ace. Well, we'll see. Number 2 on this list, on their list, is Carson, drafted in 2024, first round. He's expected to be with the Mets, and of course, he was drafted out of Oklahoma, as well as Nolan McLean the year before. He is very impressive. Much like his OSU teammate, Nolan McLean, Benge was a legitimate two-way player and talent for the Cowboys. After a big freshman season, Benge tapped into much more power in his draft-eligible sophomore year, making it clear his future was in the batter's box, and there might be room for even more impact. A noisy operation in the box, Benge starts with an open stance and rocks into his backside with a big leg kick and barrel tip. He starts it all very early with impressive lower half control and balance that likely spills over from his experience on the mound. Now, what's interesting about him and McLean is the fact that these guys played on a big stage in Oklahoma. Because they played in, I guess, in the College World Series and in that playoff run. His defense and speed. He predominantly played right field in his collegiate career, but he looks like he can play up the middle, though he's close to an average straight-up line runner. Benge's athleticism paired with the great reads he gets and efficient routes give him a good shot of becoming an average center fielder. If he moves off of the middle, he would rate as an easy plus defender in the corner where his plus arm would play well. I think eventually he'll be a left fielder. I think he's going to be the left fielder with the Mets. I don't think he's going to be a center fielder. His outlook. Ben's a unique athlete who may just be scraping the surface of the player he can ultimately be. Early results and returns in 2025 have Benge on an upward trajectory as he has clearly added impact and made a seamless transition to high A Brooklyn, where some hitters can get frustrated by the ball flight. He has a wiry build and could probably add some more strength without losing speed, and it's not uncommon for two-way players to add mass upon shifting their focus from the mound. Added strength could also facilitate a similar operation in the box. Benge has the potential to be an everyday center fielder with average or better tools across the board. Eric Chavez, his former hitting coach who has seen him, said he could be a star, could be a future star. That is the one thing we'll have to keep an eye on with him. He's going to get a long and a very long look in spring training because Stearns mentioned him a lot in one of the press conferences. And we got the WBC, so he's going to be playing a lot. Next up, number 3, Jonah Tong. And obviously the Mets drafted him in 2022, another Billy Epler guy. And this kid was a project because this was a kid that struggled with his command for a long time up until 2024, and then he started really coming on. Tom was the breakout arm in the Mets system in 24, riding a nearly 2-tick leap of his fast 1.03 ERA, 103 innings with a ridiculous 34% strikeout rate across mostly low and high A. The stuff was even better in 25, catapulting Tong into the conversation with some of the better pitching prospects in the upper minor leagues. I mean, we saw him, so there's not really much to talk about here. I mean, if I want to give you my outlook for him for 2026, is simple. He has to learn how to run an inning. He has to learn how to run a game. You can see the inexperience with him, especially in his first start. You see the inexperience. He's a very inexperienced player. And you could tell that he has not been on a big stage. He's a kid that's from Canada. He moved down from Canada to Florida to get noticed. Let's draft him out of the 7th round. 2022 and 2023, he struggled with his command. Now, I had done videos on him. I think I was probably one of the first that knew about him back in 2023 when I was finding these scouting reports on him. And he is completely transformed as a player. He is a Billy Epler win. And for the player development program the Mets have, he is a win. But obviously, let me see what their outlook is. Yeah, another fastball uptick paired with what now could be a double plus changeup has elevated Tong significantly. When he's on, there's few arms in the minor leagues more effective and overpowering. A lot of people got to 10 months ago. He'll need to find more consistency with his spin and overall command to reach his potential as a starter. Still fighting to stay above an average strike rate of 60%. He has middle rotation upside, but there's still some reliever risk with the right-hander. So, I don't see him really as a reliever, to be honest with you. He's more of a starter, but he needs to mature too. You can see he's immature as a person. So I think the experience of pitching in front of Citi Field will help him in the long run. He has a lot of ability, but obviously he needs more seasoning. He's very raw. And there could be more there. So he could be better than we've seen. The fact that we've gone from a pitcher that couldn't throw a strike, to where he had like 6 walks per 9 innings, to where it was basically cut it in half. I mean, that's a big jump. And then to go from somebody that nobody even thought about to being a top pitching prospect in all baseball is huge. And that is his arrival with the Mets. If he's able to tap into his potential, the Mets could have a very difficult rotation to deal with. But he has to find that command, and he has to grow up a little bit. Once he does that, he's going to be an enormous pitcher if he can tap into that. And here's AJ Ewing. And let's drafted him in 2023, another Billy Epler guy. And they drafted him out of it as an infielder. He speaks with advanced abilities at the plate. Ewing broke out in a big way in 25, looking like a high probability big leaguer with some versatility. Now the belief is that he's probably going to be a center fielder. That's what he's going to be. A simple operation. This is heading. Ewing starts with his feet a little more than shoulder width apart, and the bat rests just above his shoulder. Now he's considered to be the best hitter in the Mets minor league system. So I think he's going to hit. I've not seen him, but there's a lot to like. And his defense and speed. An elite runner. I'm a little frozen here. Well, he led all Mets minor leagues in stolen bases this past year. An elite runner, the Mets have continued to up Ewing's reps in center, where his reads are improving, but his closing speed already compensates enough to get by. Okay. While his routes can be indirect at times, his ability to unlock another gear and athleticism to finish plays has him looking like a capable center fielder. But with more refinement, he can grow into an above-average defender out there. Ewing looks comfortable at second, where he could also provide at least average defense. One of the 5 minor leagues to steal at least 70 bases in 2025. Ewing was the second most efficient of that group and should be an elite base stealer at the highest level. That's good. That's cool. He doesn't have a lot of power. It's the one thing he doesn't have. Between the advanced offensive skill set and speed and defensive versatility, Ewing has a high floor as a player. Where is he? Where are we here? This is what I mean by little technical difficulties today. Little technical difficulties. Now, of course, please hit the subscribe button and like this video. All right. Between the advanced offensive skill set, speed, and defensive versatility, Ewing has a high floor as a player who should at least land in a utility role if the bat stalls. That said, His propensity for hitting line drives and solid exit velocities point towards what could be an everyday center fielder who could jump onto the dirt when needed. A little bit more progress defensively up the middle. Ewing should be an above average regular who could be an intriguing table setter at the top of the lineup. He's got a lot of talent. He really does. And like I said, he's a player that's another win because it seems like he exploded on the scene. He could be another guy we'll get a long look at in spring training. Next up, Jeff Williams. Mets number 1 pick in 2022, another Billy Epler guy. He's been the Mets number 1 prospect for a long time. Compact but explosive, Williams is a great athlete with more impact than his frame would suggest. His polish at the plate helped him fly through the minor league system, reaching Double-A in his age 19 season in 2023 before having most of his 2024 wiped out by wrist surgery. If he hadn't got hurt in 2024, folks, he was going to be in the major leagues with the Mets. I was expecting him to be with the Mets, and he got hurt. He had that bad injury to his wrist. I don't know what the hell it was about. He is a tremendous offensive player. When he was drafted, he was compared to Mookie Betts. Now he's sort of, he had that 1 year, and there was it took him a while to get going in 2025. He's a speedy guy. He has power. He has versatility. I don't know where his future will be. Let's see what their outlook is for him. But he is a very exciting player. And another player that the only thing about him is he's short. He's short. His outlook, elite on base skills, amplifying offensive profile will likely feature above average hit and average at best power. Williams and Termarr Johnson became the first teenager since 2025 to walk 100 times in a minor league season in 2023. He's also the first guy to walk 100 times since David Wright in 2003, I believe. The defensive side of things will be important to monitor as Williams is clearly capable of providing versatility. But if he can take a step further forward with more consistent reps in center field, he becomes significantly more valuable. Williams has the floor of a quality utility piece, but has the offensive upside and speed to be an above-average regular. Now, it's interesting the Mets made the deal for Marcus Semien, and I was curious to see if the Mets were going to move him, but they haven't moved him yet. Nobody's made any moves yet. I don't think the Mets are going to make any moves to trade any of their prospects. I think they want to see them play. Next up is Brandon Sproat. Now, he's another guy we've seen a bit of with the Mets. Drafted by the Mets twice. 90th in 2022 was dazzling stuff that made Sproat a first-round candidate as the 2023 draft approached. However, below-average command dropped him to the second round. The Mets drafted him twice. The first time they drafted him, they just sort of ran out in terms of, time. They didn't have enough days to negotiate a contract, so he went back into the draft. The following year, he played a fourth year in college, which is unusual for players. Sproat exploded in 24, looking like one of the more exciting pitching prospects in baseball before his stuff and command regressed in AAA at the end of the 2024 season. It was more of the same through the first half of 2025 before things clicked, earning 4 big league starts to close the year out where he held his own. He was okay. I thought he was okay. He could be a reliever. And from what people have said about him, he's a guy that can handle pressure. So he could be a back end of a bullpen guy. He could be a closer. So he's a guy to keep an eye on in terms of the bullpen. So he will be with the Mets at some point if he doesn't get traded. Number 7, Ryan Clifford, who probably has the most power in the Mets farm system. To be honest with you, in the 11th round by the Astros, Clifford signed for second-round money to forgo his Vanderbilt commitment before being traded alongside Drew Gilbert for Justin Verlander at the 2023 deadline. Clifford made some mechanical adjustments during the 2025 season, which helped him cut down swing and miss. Now, as an offensive player, he's going to be a high strikeout guy, but he's going to be a high walk guy. The best comparison for him is Lucas Duda. The question is, what kind of first baseman is he going to be? Because he's basically Lucas Duda, folks. He is Lucas Duda down to the T. Clifford's easy plus power has always been his calling card, and with improved contact rates and approach, he's knocking on the door of the big leagues going into his age 22 season. While his glove is not an asset, the ability to at least plug into the outfield corners In addition to first base helps his case. Ultimately, Clifford projects best as a bulk platoon, 3 true outcome power bat capable of launching 30-plus homers. I think Lucas Duda is a pretty good comparison. I mean, really. Next up, Jacob Reimer. Now he was drafted at 24. I don't think he was drafted in 24. I think Jacob Reimer was drafted in 2023. Not a very good way they wrote this. A California prep bat, Reimer was selected in the 4th round of the 2022 draft. Thank you. Turned in an impressive first pro season in 23 before injuries limited him to just 21 regular season games in 2024. The Mets sent Reimer out to the Arizona Fall League to make up for the lost reps. They posted mostly average numbers, but started to make the mechanical adjustments that have him breaking out in 2025. Reimer previously started with his weight stacked on his backside. I mean his outlook. See what his outlook is. Earning high marks for his work ethic and knowledge of his swing. Reimer followed an injury-riddled 2024 season with tangible adjustments in the box and had strength that had him breaking out offensively in 2025. Even if there is limited value beyond the bat, Reimer has the offensive ingredients to get on base at an above average clip and hit 20 to 25 home runs. People compare him to the guy down in Atlanta, the third baseman in Atlanta. That's who I've heard him compared to. But we'll see with that. I mean, he is a guy. He hit 3 home runs in Brooklyn this past year. Not in Brooklyn, but for Brooklyn on the road. And people were talking about him on the MLB Network. So he had a little bit of a highlight to his season. And he is very exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing that. We're going to see, again, another guy we're going to see a lot of. He played in Double-A this past year. We're going to see a lot of him in spring training. We really are. Next up, number 9, Jack Wenninger. The 6th-round pick in 2023, Wenninger's fastball jumped nearly 3 ticks in 25, facilitating breakout as he nearly halved his ERA in his first year at Double-A while tossing 135 and 2/3 innings. So he's a guy that could be in the major. You're going to see him a lot in spring training, too. Already comfortably filling up the zone with each of his offerings, Wenninger was able to maintain a walk rate south of 8%, as his quality of stuff took a massive leap in 2025. The strike throwing ability and pitch mix give him a great chance to sit in the back of rotation as a sturdy innings eater. Wenninger has the upside of a number 4 starter and reached close to that with the way he closed out his season at Double-A, making him a candidate to see big league action with the Mets in 2026. Like I said, the fact that he pitched 135 innings tells you he's going to be with the Mets. And he's another guy, another Billy Epler guy. That should tell you how good of a general manager Billy Epler was, at least finding a minor league talent. I mean, really, the minor league talent that he brought in here. I would hope, and I don't think this is going to ever happen. The Mets should rehire him, make him the general manager again. I don't understand why doesn't have a job anywhere. I know he was out for baseball for about a year because of the whole nonsense with the whole thing that happened. But you know what? The guy did a good job here. And it's nice to have another guy in the room, too. Number 10. And this is probably the Mets' number 1 left-handed pitching prospect. This is Jonathan Santucci, and they drafted him out of Duke in the 2nd round in 2024. A southpaw with an exciting fastball slider combination, Santucci had plenty of first-round buzz heading into the draft year before a rib injury and command issues pushed him to the 2nd round. Santucci looked like a first-round talent in his first pro season, cutting down the walk rate and improving as the season progressed, dominating Double-A in the second half. Another guy we might see him spring training, maybe. Santucci's 25 season has him rise up the Mets' ranks as the best left-handed pitching prospect in the system. I just said that. Though the control improved mightily in his pro debut, Santucci's command is still a work in progress with a strike rate of just 61% of all offerings rather than his slider. The fastball-slider combo gives Santucci the floor of an effective left-handed reliever, but his improved ability to throw strikes and at least signs of a third offering have earned him plenty of runway as a starting pitching prospect where he could be a quality number 4 starter if it comes together. Now, this might be at number 11. This kid might be the Mets' best prospect. He's this low on this list is because he's so young and so far away. And it's Elian Peña, somebody they drafted and somebody they signed in the International League, international free agents. Elian Peña. The centerpiece of the Mets' 2025 IFA cycle, Peña accounted for more than 80% of the Mets' bonus pool, selling David Stearns and Company on his above-average tools across the board, an advanced left-handed stroke. After an 0 for 26 start to his pro career, Peña OPS'd north of 1,000 the rest of the way, launching 9 homers and walking more than he struck out, generating plenty of buzz heading into his 2026 season. Now, the belief is that he's going to hit, okay? But he's so far away. And then he has a good arm, okay? He's got speed. He's got all the tools. The outlook. Steve Cohen and David Stearns have made it a point to improve the organization's ability to acquire international talent and made the biggest splash the 25 period outside of Roki Sasaki. The Mets will give Peña every opportunity at shortstop where he has enough going for him to have a chance at sticking. I mean, the comp for him is Rafael Devers as a hitter, just as a hitter. But he could do more. He's a shortstop. If he doesn't stick it short, they say he'll play third. But he has more speed than Devers has. In the more likely event that he moves off to the hot corner, Peña's offensive upside is exciting enough to meet the higher offensive bar the position demands and then some. His advanced blend of hit, power, and plate discipline in the DSL should ease his transition stateside in 2026 with a chance to hit his way off of the complex to a low A quickly in his age 18 season. I expect him to be in the Florida Complex League next year, which is basically rookie ball in the United States. Number 12, Nick Morabito. Now, he's an interesting player. He's another Billy Epler guy. Drafted in 2022, second round. Arguably the fastest runner in the Mets system, Morabito also led all Mets minor leaguers in hits and batting average of 24 and followed up with a solid year at Double A in 2025. It's a direct and rather flat swing, resulting in a higher ground ball rates and an average launch angle of just 3 degrees. The good news is Morabito has the speed to beat out weakly hit ground balls and choppers. Becomes easily attainable, demonstrating good instincts and range of an above-average arm. He is a major factor on the base pass, but could be a bit more efficient, swiping 59 bags on 74 tries in 2024 and 49 of 60 in 2025. Morabito has a great chance of at least landing as a fourth outfield, and he's on the 40-man roster. The Mets did not want to lose him. So expect him to be on the Mets this year. Expect it. Number 13. The Mets' number 1 pick of this year, 30th overall, is Mitch Voit. They picked up they got from Michigan. Voit was a two-way player for the Michigan Wolverines, shining more off the bat, but still giving them 62 and a third innings in his draft year. At the plate, he mashed to a 1140 OPS, matching his previous year home run total of 14, but with improved bat to ball and plate discipline. It's a simple operation at the plate, somewhat reminiscent of Cam Smith, although with less raw impact, but there's some hope that Voit can tap into some more hitting conducive strength now that the pitching days are behind him. Defensively, Voit is limited to second base, but he should be a fine defender there with his plus wheels, translating more on the base paths. The bat will need to carry the profile here, and his potential for at least an average hit and power. Now, there was tons, and I mean tons, of defensive highlights with him. So the Mets look at him that he could be a terrific defensive second baseman. Will he be at the major league level? I don't know, but he was a college player, so he could. Now, if he's given up hitting, he could get to the majors very quickly. But they do have Marcus Semien there at second base right now. Number 14, Will Watson. Another Billy Epler guy. No, is that a Billy Epler guy? 2024, it says here. Initially a two-way player at California Lutheran, Watson shifted his focus to the mound full-time before transferring to USC, where he pitched his way from the bullpen to a starter's role. His athleticism is evident, working down the mound well, releasing from a rough 5-foot height with a long arm action that can make it difficult to consistently hit his spots. Those fastball average 95 miles per hour released from a low slot. It seems to be relatively easy for hitters to stay on. With a 45% hard hit rate allowed and a swinging strike rate below 8%, his best pitch is plus slider at 85 to 87 miles per hour that decimated right-handed hitters in 2025. His equalizer for lefties and an above-average changeup, but he will mix in a fringy cutter as well. Watson has big league stuff and the athleticism to dream on some more, but his command will need to improve to fend off a move to the bullpen. And now, number 15 on the other list is Chris Suaro, an international player they signed in 2022. He will be in the majors this year, okay, because he had a good year in Brooklyn, a good year in Binghamton, and he played really well in the Arizona Fall League. So he's going to be on the Mets, I think. Barring some injury, they're going to get a long look of him. We're going to see him behind the plate and all over the place. A unique profile, Suaro to see action behind the dish in the outfield, and at first, he's a plus runner with a good arm, inspiring the Mets to continue to move him around the diamond. He made a leap in the power department in 2025, launching 19 homers between high A and double A, a career best 35 stolen bases as well. So he does a lot. He does a lot. He is pull happy, but successfully pulls the ball in the air at a high clip with above average exit velocities. Higher end pitching velocities could make Suaro look rushed at times, hedging with the ability to hammer mistakes far more consistently, OPSing north of 1,000 versus sliders. While the hit tool will likely be fringy at best, his unique skill set could position him like a more athletic David Fry. His plus wheels, above average pop, and defensive versatility helps his chances of sticking on a roster. We're going to see a lot of him. He's going to be a guy we're going to see a lot of, a ton of. Here's some other names to consider. RJ Gordon, 13-rounder in 2024. He impressed with his polish in his pro debut, compiling 128 2/3 innings between high A and double A. Maybe we'll see him as a bullpen piece. Next up, Ryan Lambert. This guy will be in the bullpen. An 8th-round selection in 2024. He bounced Northern Iowa Area Community College in 22 to Missouri State in 23 and Oklahoma in 2024. His fastball and overall intensity on the mound caught the attention of big league clubs and translated into a dominant first full pro season, pitching to a 1.62 ERA in 50 innings, striking out 81. His 70-grade fastball averages 97 miles per hour and gets plus carry from his short. I love that Oklahoma thing. I can't get over it. And then next up, Jonathan Pintaro. Now, we saw him. He went undrafted at Division II Shorter University in 22, pitching in the Pioneer League until he garnered the attention of the Mets. We saw him a little bit, last year. Next up is Giovanni Rodriguez, who might be the Mets' best catching prospect. A $2.85 million payday and rave reviews from scouts created plenty of hype for the Venezuelan catcher. But he stumbled out of the gate in his pro debut. His impressive defensive skill set did not immediately translate by posting a 715 OPS at DSL in 2024. This had the Mets keep the 18-year-old on the DSL for another year before bringing him stateside. And he produced much better results in 2025. Rodriguez hit .331 with a .446 on base percentage and a .493 slugging percentage, a .939 OPS. He has the defensive tools to be a big league catcher, and the improvements with the bat were encouraging. He's the Mets' #1 catching prospect. Dylan Ross, a 13th round pick in 22. Ross did not make his pro debut until the end of 24, after requiring UCL revision surgery to rectify the initial Tommy John surgery he underwent just 2 starts into his 2022 season. After his brief cameo in 24, he burst onto the scene in 25, climbing from high A to triple A. And the Mets, they called him up. I thought it was very unfair that they called him up and had him there the last 3 games in Miami. The next guy is Eli Serrano, a 4th-round pick by the Mets in the 24 draft out of NC State. The Mets snagged Serrano as a draft-eligible sophomore, despite him putting up rather pedestrian numbers, betting on his fascinating upside. The raw exit velocities have been there for the 6'6" outfielder, as it had the contact rates, but he has struggled to translate it into production. Serrano's hard hit rate of 47% and contact rate of 76% in 23, 25 were both respectable. Where he left the yard just 7 times with a .690 OPS at high A. The Mets are hoping Serrano can add more strength to his very slender frame, which paired with his surprisingly solid bat to ball could turn him into an exciting corner bat. I don't know much about him, so he is an unknown to your host. Because there weren't a lot of highlights for this season. Zach Thornton, another lefty, another Mets pitching prospect who took a leap in 25. He was drafted in the 5th round in 23, turning a decent first pro season before dominating to a 1.98 ERA in 72 and thirds innings. A pitchability southpaw, Thornton fills up the strike zone with his low 90s fastball that generates above average carry and extension. He doesn't throw that hard. Thornton's breakout was cut short due to an oblique injury, but he is a high probability depth arm who could potentially miss bats to round out a rotation. I could see him as an arm in the bullpen. I don't see him as really probably a 5th starter, but maybe a guy that's going to be in the bullpen. That's certainly what I could see with Zach Thornton. From the things I've read about him a little bit. He did pitch well, but if you hurt all the time, it's difficult to have any kind of a sense of where the players are, to be honest with you. That's the one thing about some of these players, especially in 2024. We had so many injuries to the Met prospects. I mean, we didn't have Jett Williams there for most of the season. He was hurt. Drew Gilbert was hurt. Jacob Reimer was hurt. So all this sort of, their production was sort of held back, and we didn't get a chance to really, and the experience. They didn't get the experience that they need, and you need that experience to play in the minor leagues to get to the major leagues. Well, you let me know what you think about this video. I have more of these kind of videos. This was not the video I wanted to do because we had some technical difficulties. You saw that at the beginning of the video, but hopefully you like it. We're gonna do more stuff on here. We're gonna get this channel back up on its feet on a regular basis. So anybody that's subscribed to this channel for the past few years, don't worry. We're going to be doing more stuff here. And I want to thank you for watching. Have a good day. Please subscribe to the Prospect Hut, and I'll see you later.